There is a chicken brand that has been sitting in American grocery carts for decades, and most people have never looked past the front of the package. It isn't just selling chicken, it's selling trust, family dinners, and the belief that every package is basically the same. By the end of this video, you'll know which chicken brands are actually delivering quality, which ones are cutting corners behind the label, and why one of the biggest names in the meat aisle ends up on the skip list. I pulled information directly from current manufacturer websites, USDA and FDA records, federal court filings, recall histories, ingredient labels, and publicly available company reports to make sure every claim in this video is backed by reliable sources, not outdated labels or internet rumors. 6 chicken brands are going back on the shelf. 3 are actually worth buying. And the brand that surprised me the most is saved for last. Because once you see what's really behind its reputation, you'll never look at the chicken aisle the same way again. Let's get into it. Number 6. Perdue Farms Fresh Boneless Skinless Chicken Breasts Tray, the everyday standard line, not the smaller premium sub-brand sitting next to it on the same shelf. Perdue has spent decades marketing itself as the different kind of chicken company. And to be fair, they were genuinely early to antibiotic-free production before it was a competitive necessity. But this standard line still goes through the same chlorinated immersion chill tank as almost everyone else on this list, which means the meat can legally retain water weight it never carried as a living bird. And you're paying chicken per pound prices for some percentage of that water. Perdue has also already lost this exact credibility argument in court once before, on a different product under the same corporate roof. Back in 2014, Perdue settled a class action lawsuit brought by the Humane Society after being sued over slapping humanely raised on its Perdue Harvestland free-range chicken breasts packaging specifically. Perdue never admitted wrongdoing in the settlement, but the company agreed to pull the humanely raised claim from Harvestland packaging entirely, rather than keep defending it in court. That's not a current problem. It's a resolved one, over a decade old now, and it doesn't mean the standard fresh line was ever part of that specific lawsuit, but it tells you exactly how much weight to put on the words printed on the front of a bag versus what's actually happening on the processing floor behind it. Perdue's standard line still sits at a noticeably higher price per pound than Tyson or a store brand, which is the part that should bother you most. You're paying a premium for a name whose own sub-brand already had to walk back a welfare claim in federal court on a processing method that isn't actually any different from the cheaper tray sitting one shelf down. The brand sitting one spot above this one on the list charges almost the same price at the register and skips the chill tank question entirely, using a method that never needed defending in the first place. Number 5. Tyson. All-natural, fresh boneless, skinless chicken breasts with rib meat. The everyday tray sitting in the cold case of basically every Walmart and Kroger in the country. Tyson runs its processing at a scale most people can't picture, a single large plant handling somewhere in the range of 1 million to 2 million birds a day. And that kind of volume depends on the industry-standard chlorinated immersion chiller to keep bacteria from spreading tank to tank. USDA caps that chlorine level at 50 parts per million, though the National Chicken Council's own published figures say most plants actually test closer to 3 parts per million at the point of overflow. That part is legal, monitored, and not the story here. The story is the paper trail sitting in federal court records. Tyson has paid out well over $250 million across multiple broiler chicken price-fixing settlements since 2021 alone, including a $115.5 million settlement reached in a Maryland federal court in December 2024, stacked on top of years of earlier consumer and farmer settlements tied to the same underlying antitrust conspiracy. None of that history shows up anywhere on the tray. The label just says fresh, priced like every other fresh tray around it, as if the company hadn't spent the last several years writing settlement checks over how that price got set in the first place. That's the real cost of buying the biggest name in the aisle. You're not just paying for the chicken, you're quietly helping fund the next round of litigation. The brand 2 spots down on this list has an even more direct paper trail, and unlike Tyson's, it isn't civil, it's criminal. Number 4. Foster Farms fresh and natural boneless, skinless chicken breast fillets. The West Coast staple built almost entirely on the phrase "California grown" printed across the front of the package. Foster Farms is currently named in a farm-forward analysis of 5 years of USDA inspection data published in November 2025, which found that poultry plants supplying household brands including Foster Farms, Costco, and Perdue routinely tested above the federal government's own maximum salmonella thresholds. Worth saying plainly, the National Chicken Council pushed back hard on that report, calling it unscientific, and the companies named didn't all respond the same way. This is a real, published finding, not a settled criminal case, so treat it as a serious data point rather than a verdict. Foster Farms also has real history here that predates that report. A Salmonella Heidelberg outbreak tied directly to its processing plants sickened more than 600 people across 29 states back in 2013 and 2014, an outbreak that dragged on for over a year before federal officials could confirm the direct link. That outbreak is resolved, and now more than a decade behind us. So I'm not telling you it's happening today in that exact form. What I am telling you is that the same company, at the same category of plant, is now named in fresh 2025 inspection data flagged for the same underlying salmonella issue. That's a pattern worth knowing about, even with the industry's pushback on the report's methodology. Add to that a separate October 2025 federal recall of approximately 3,961,138 pounds of Foster Farms corn dog products over wood fragments found in the batter. A different item, not the fresh chicken breast itself, but still the same company's name on an FSIS recall notice in the same calendar year as the salmonella findings. Number 3. Pilgrim's Pride. Natural fresh chicken breast, tenderloins, and similar fresh cuts, but also through the same parent company, behind the Just Bare brand, and a huge share of grocery store deli counters and private label chicken you'd never think to trace back to Pilgrim's at all. Now owned by the Brazilian meatpacking giant JBS, the company has a federal court record to match. In February 2021, Pilgrim's Pride became the first poultry company in U.S. history to plead guilty to a federal criminal charge for conspiring to fix prices and rig bids on broiler chicken products sold to customers, including Walmart and Chick-fil-A. This isn't a civil settlement where nobody admits wrongdoing. This is an actual guilty plea entered in U.S. District Court in Denver, with a criminal fine of $107.9 million attached, tied to a conspiracy the Department of Justice said ran from at least 2012 into 2017 and affected over $361 million in the company's own broiler chicken sales. That's a matter of permanent federal court record, fully resolved and already sentenced. What makes Pilgrim's Pride different from the previous two entries isn't the dollar amount, it's the word criminal sitting next to the company's name in a federal docket, instead of settled without admission, which is the phrase every other price-fixing case on this list gets to hide behind. And because Pilgrim's Pride supplies so much unbranded and private label chicken, there's a real chance you've bought its product without ever seeing its name on a single package. The brand coming up next is the one most people would never even think to question, because on the surface, it doesn't feel like a brand at all. Number 2. Great Value All-Natural Boneless Skinless Chicken Breasts, Walmart's version, as the specific example. Here's the part almost nobody clocks, and this one you can check yourself on the spec sheet. Walmart's own product listing names the manufacturer of that bag directly, and it's Tyson Foods. Same chlorinated chill tank, same company facing the same price-fixing settlements, sitting 2 spots up on this list, just repackaged in a bag with a different logo and usually a lower price. That's not a guess about who probably supplies store brands. That's the manufacturer field on the product page. You also lose the one thing an actual named brand has to defend in public: accountability. If a name brand company gets caught cutting a corner, there's a stock price and a press office that has to respond. If a store brand has the same problem, The retailer just quietly switches suppliers next quarter, and the shelf never looks any different to you. And since store brand contracts rotate between whichever major processor bids lowest, the name on the bag next year might trace back to a completely different company than this one. The ingredient list on that exact great value package also confirms it's an enhanced product. Boneless, skinless chicken breast portions with rib meat contains up to 15% chicken broth, salt, natural flavor. That's not a rumor about the category. That's what's printed on the specific bag. You're not just buying chicken from Walmart at that point. You're buying Tyson's chicken with up to 15% broth and salt weight built in, wearing a different label at a different price. Number 1. Kirkland Signature Fresh Boneless Skinless Chicken Breasts. One that surprised me most doing this research, because it's the name people trust more than almost anything else in the entire grocery store. Supplied primarily by Lincoln Premium Poultry, the Nebraska plant Costco built specifically to feed its own rotisserie and fresh chicken program, with Costco holding a direct ownership stake in the operation. According to that same farm-forward analysis, covering USDA inspection data from 2020 through 2024, Lincoln Premium Poultry exceeded the federal salmonella standard in 54 out of 59 separate monthly inspections. 54 out of 59. Consumer Reports separately flagged the same plant around the same time, based on FSIS, placing it in the lowest safety category for 2 consecutive reporting periods. Costco spent years building a reputation as the retailer that does things differently, that controls its own supply chain end-to-end, that wouldn't cut the same corners as everyone else, because it owns the plant, instead of just buying from one. On this specific metric, over that specific multi-year window, the numbers said the opposite happened. Now, in fairness, here's the update. The most recent FSIS reporting period, covering December 2024 through November 2025, shows Lincoln Premium Poultry improved to the agency's middle safety category in both measures. A real, measurable step up from where it was. A company spokesperson also told reporters the plant has enhanced our standing and is continuing to improve its processes. So this isn't a company standing still. It's a company whose own 5-year track record was bad enough to headline a national report, currently in the middle of trying to fix it. Costco built Lincoln Premium Poultry specifically so it wouldn't have to depend on Tyson, Perdue, or Pilgrim's Pride for its most popular product in the store. And for most of the years covered by that report, owning the whole supply chain didn't automatically translate into a cleaner result than the companies it was trying to avoid. So that's 6 brands where the marketing on the front of the package and the reality on the processing floor are telling 2 completely different stories. A federal guilty plea, a fresh 2025 inspection finding, a lawsuit-settled welfare claim, and a store brand with no fixed identity at all. Before we get to the 3 that actually hold up under the same kind of scrutiny, quick request. If you've made it this far, hit subscribe now, because the next investigation is going to be just as uncomfortable as this one, on a product sitting in almost everybody's pantry. Now the part you've actually been waiting for. 3 brands doing something genuinely different with the same bird, counting up to the best one on the list. Best option, number 3. Smart Chicken Organic Boneless Skinless Chicken Breast Fillets, sold in thousands of stores across nearly all 50 states, not some tiny regional specialty item. Smart Chicken has been 100% air-chilled since it was founded in Waverly, Nebraska back in 1998. Cold air circulating around individual birds instead of a shared communal water bath, which means no added water weight sneaking onto the scale and no shared chill tank passing bacteria from one carcass to the next. Here's the twist that makes this pick interesting. Tyson Foods bought the company outright in 2018 and still operates it today as a separate, wholly owned subsidiary. So yes, a company sitting on the skip half of this list also owns one of the actually good picks on the other half. That's not really a contradiction once you think about it. It's proof that the process is what actually matters here, not the logo on the corporate letterhead, because Tyson didn't touch the air chill method or the no antibiotics ever standard after buying it. Preserving exactly that reputation was the entire reason the acquisition was worth making in the first place. If Tyson had wanted to quietly cut costs on the brand it just bought, the chill tank is the very first thing that would have changed, and it's the one thing that hasn't. Best option number 2, Mary's free-range boneless, skinless chicken breast, made by Pittman Farms, a family business based in Sanger, California, that's been raising poultry since 1954 and is now run by the 3rd and 4th generation of the same family. Mary's birds get roughly 4 times the physical space of an average commercial flock, and about 90% of the roughly 500,000 chickens the brand processes every week are certified at Global Animal Partnership Step 3, with the remaining 10% certified at Step 4 and 5. Like Smart Chicken, Mary's uses 100% air chilling across the entire operation, which the company says saves tens of thousands of gallons of water every single day and keeps the birds from ever absorbing water they never had in life. It's independently owned. It's been building toward this exact standard for 3 generations before air-chilled was ever a marketing buzzword. And it actually shows up in the ingredient list and the certification, not just in the copy on the packaging. You will pay more per pound for Mary's than you will for Tyson or Perdue, and that's the honest trade-off here. The price difference is the cost of a smaller, family-run operation that hasn't spent the last decade settling federal lawsuits, rather than a markup for a fancier label. Best option number 1, Bell & Evans Boneless, Skinless Chicken Breasts, the plain 100% air-chilled line, not the breaded or marinated products sold under the same brand. Family-owned since 1894 and still run today by the same family, 5 generations deep. In 2005, Bell & Evans became the first company in the country to build a facility designed from the ground up to be 100% air-chilled. No hybrid system quietly blending air and water, like some brands that claim the term, no chlorinated water touching the meat anywhere in the process. The company has been raising its birds without antibiotics for over 20 years, well before it became a competitive requirement to survive on the shelf, and the ingredient list on its plain fresh chicken reads exactly one word: chicken. No retained water statement to squint at, no injected solution, no 15% saline surprise buried in tiny print under the logo. Bell & Evans controls its own hatchery, its own feed formulation, and its own processing, all under one company roof in Pennsylvania. The kind of vertical accountability that's almost impossible to fake at scale, because there's no outside supplier left to blame if something goes wrong. If you're picking exactly one brand off this entire list to build a habit around, this is the one with the least distance between what the package promises and what actually happened to the bird before it got there. It's also the most expensive chicken on this entire list, and I'm not going to pretend that price gap doesn't matter to a real grocery budget. But if the goal is the smallest possible gap between the label and reality, Bell & Evans is what that actually costs. You know that raised without antibiotics and humanely raised are 2 completely different claims with 2 completely different legal track records, and one of them has already lost in federal court. You know that white striping and woody breast aren't rare defects limited to one bad brand. They're the default outcome for the vast majority of fast-growing commercial birds, showing up on nearly every name in this list, good and bad alike. You know that a civil price-fixing settlement and a federal criminal guilty plea are not remotely the same level of problem, even though both can get reduced down to a single paragraph in a press release. And you know that the retailer you personally trust the most in the entire store isn't automatically the one with the cleanest inspection record behind the scenes, no matter how long you've been shopping there. You also know that price alone tells you almost nothing. Perdue and Bell & Evans both cost more than Tyson, but for completely opposite reasons, and the only way to tell those 2 apart is to actually read past the front of the package. Here's the actual checklist for the next time you're standing in the chicken aisle deciding between two nearly identical trays. Flip the package over before you flip it into the cart. Look specifically for the words air-chilled instead of just chilled, since that single phrase changes almost everything else about the product. Check whether there's a percentage sitting next to the word solution or broth on the label, because that number is telling you exactly how much salted water you're paying chicken prices for by the pound. And if a brand won't tell you clearly where the bird was actually raised and processed, that silence by itself is usually the answer. None of this requires a nutritionist or a lab coat. It requires about 10 extra seconds standing in front of the case, which is 10 seconds most of us have never bothered to spend. I know this isn't a fun video to sit through. Nobody wants to think this hard about a chicken breast before making dinner, but you're going to buy this exact product almost every single week for the rest of your life, which makes a few extra seconds reading a label the cheapest insurance you'll ever buy at the grocery store. If this saved you from grabbing the wrong bag today, tell me which of these 6 surprised you the most in the comments below, and subscribe for the next brand we put under the microscope.